Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all about parenting, family bonding, family relationships, all through the lens of the principle of self-government. In this video, we're going to be talking about what motivates toddlers to regulate their behavior. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 4 key things that you can do to motivate your toddler to regulate their own behavior. I know many people think it's not possible for a toddler to regulate their own behavior, but it absolutely is possible. In fact, my own children, starting at the age 2, could say okay and be okay when they were told no, when they were given instructions. They could even do small disagree appropriately interactions. In this video, we're going to talk about how to do all those things plus more. The number one key to teaching toddlers to regulate their own behavior is actually developing a good bond with the toddler. I know that seems like it might not be connected, but it absolutely is. So we want to have healthy bonds in the family, which means that parent-child bond needs to happen. I know some parents struggle more than others at creating really good healthy bonds. So if you're one of those that has a struggle, then make sure that you work at it every day. And if you have to, just pray to have that bond happen. Pray to love that child even more, no matter how they're behaving at the time. Those terrible twos can really be hard sometimes on us. We need to have a bond. What that bond does with the child is it actually establishes roles in the family. This establishes you as leader and teacher and exemplar. They need that. If you do not establish that early on, if you just take pictures of their cuteness and their sassiness and post it on YouTube or whatever, instead of actually correcting it and establishing those roles, then what happens is they end up going a little bit wild. They feel alone. They don't get the nurturing that they need. And you sometimes might start stepping back or getting more aggressive. We don't want that to happen. So definitely with our children, if we want them to learn to control themselves, they need to see us bonding with them. And guess what? They need to see us controlling ourselves too. Before I share my 3 other keys with you, hit that subscribe button. When you hit the subscribe button, more people will see this useful content. Also, you won't miss all the upcoming videos that could help you with your toddler and maybe your other children too. Key number 2 is to plan ahead. Really effective parents, when they're helping their children prepare for success, they determine ahead of time how their structure is going to be at home. So I teach self-government. My course is called the TSG Parenting Course, or the Teaching Self-Government Parenting course. And in that course, we lay out a plan for parents that if they put all of those pieces together, it actually takes care of any situation that occurs. And this was put to the test in 2009 when the BBC invited our family to be on a documentary that they called The World's Strictest Parents. That's right, I was one of the world's strictest parents, but what people saw was not anger or frustration, not orneriness, not that kind of strictness. Instead, they saw calmness. They saw parents who were ready to handle any situation. I became ready to handle any situation by raising my own children, but also by doing treatment foster care for troubled teens for a number of years. So there truly was no behavior I was not ready to handle, and I share my formula with people. So what does that formula entail? It's super important that the family deliberately decide ahead of time what type of a family they're becoming and what steps they can take to go in that direction toward that picture of that family that they're hoping to be one day. Also, they have to have a way to measure or quantify their progress so that they can also fix behavior when things go wrong. When a parent plans ahead, this stops the parent from getting creative in the minute. Now, I know some of us love our creativity, but you have to admit when something happens and you're like, how do I handle this? And you're feeling things boil up inside you. This toddler, they just dumped a whole bucket of rice on the floor, or they just dumped a whole bottle of bubbles on the carpet, and that does not come out very easily. I would tell you from personal experience. Anyway, so when that happens, what are we going to do? How do we stay ready to handle a situation if we just have to creatively handle it right in the minute? It's going to be a disaster. Getting creative leads to emotional manipulation and power struggle with our toddlers, and it actually makes them feel not safe, and it can damage our bond, which, remember, is the number 1 most important thing for helping them learn self-regulation. So what you do instead is you teach them the skills they need for success, and you learn the skills you need for success too. The skills that children can learn when they are toddlers, as soon as they can say "ote," are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, And then if they can say a little bit more than ote, then they can disagree appropriately too. In fact, I have taught my children all to disagree appropriately at the age of 2, and they can say very tiny disagreements, such as, "Mom, I know you don't want me to have a tutti, but," that's cookie in baby talk, "but I really want one." And they keep a calm face, voice, and body about it. They listen to my decision and they say okay and drop the subject no matter what I say. They can learn to do all those things even though their prefrontal cortexes are very, very tiny during that stage of development. This brings us to key number 3, which is skill development. So there are 4 basic skills: following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. Let's talk about following instructions. That is kind of like the basic of all basic skills. I know you might be thinking, no, my toddler needs to accept a no answer. That is the most important. I promise we'll get to that one too, but following instructions is vital. If a child won't follow instructions from you, you actually can't parent them. That's right. You can't parent a child unless they allow you to hold that position of authority in their lives, which is why we have to maintain the roles, right? Back to key number 1. So anyway, the way that you follow instructions are you look at the person, you keep a calm face, voice, and body, you say okay or ask to disagree appropriately, you do the task immediately, and then check back. I actually have picture books that teach all 4 of the 4 basic skills, so you might want to look into that one. The book for that one is called London LeRae Says Okay, and it's on my website, teachingselfgovernment.com. After you teach them to follow instructions, be sure that you praise them when things go right and you correct them when things go wrong, because they do need to learn cause and effect in order to learn self-regulation, or what I call self-government. The next skill that you're probably wanting to teach the children is accepting a no answer. To accept a no answer, there are 4 steps. You look at the person, keep a calm face, voice, and body, say okay or ask to disagree appropriately, and then drop the subject. That means no more anger, no more whining, none of it. Now I know some of you are thinking, yeah, they will whine though, and what do I do if they whine? Well, this is not the video for what to do if they whine, but we do have an intensive teaching model as well as a corrective teaching skill that parents can learn, and these are all contained in some of the other videos here or in my Teaching Self-Government Parenting course, which lays everything out for you. But the 4th key that I want to talk about today is actually practice sessions. If you practice with your child ahead of time, they will be more successful in their self-regulation. So a person needs to have more experience doing things the right way than the wrong way in order to form the habit of doing the things the right way. So toddlers, especially because their prefrontal cortexes are so small, they need to have a lot of opportunity to do things the right way, which means that we practice them the right way every day, even if they are doing them well already, at least for a few weeks until they really get those behaviors down. Then after that, whenever I praise them, we're going to again review what they did that was so great. When I correct them, we're going to follow up any correction with practicing things the right way again. The children get lots of opportunity to practice things the right way so that hopefully it becomes ingrained in them that they can regulate themselves. When a person regulates themselves, they can do all 4 of those 4 basic skills. They can follow instructions, accept no answers, accept consequences, and disagree appropriately. This means adults too, by the way. These are just adult skills or skills for life. Everyone needs to know them. I would love to teach you more about these skills. I highly recommend watching the next video, which is 4 skills to transform your parenting. In that video, you will learn a whole lot more about those 4 basic skills, and you'll get to hear a real family talk about their experiences using those 4 basic skills as well. I'll see you there.